So Skyblock's been around for a while, and at the time of making this, it's currently been out for over 2 years, 2 years and 2 months to be exact. It's easily Hypixel's most popular game as of now, with player counts easily exceeding 30,000 daily, way more than any other game on Hypixel ever has, at least to my knowledge. Easily the most popular game Hypixel's made to date, yet there's so many things you could argue went wrong with it, and I want to talk about some of those things right now. I've been playing since release day, and I have some, we'll say, very strong opinions about it that I want to say. I tried to vary these 5 things as best I could, from actual items and things in the game to things not in the game, and overarching mechanics that encompass it in its entirety. Just a small disclaimer that none of these are in any particular order, just in the order I jotted them down. And this is also my opinion, and you're free to disagree with anything I say. I'm only speaking for myself when I say these things. If you agree, that's cool. If you don't agree and you think I'm stupid and dumb and don't know what I'm talking about, that's also cool. So anyways, let's begin, shall we? So number one is going to be the need for connections. So what do I mean by this? Well, when I say connections, I mean the almost necessity of having friends or people who also play the game, most notably in dungeons, but it also affects other areas of the game as well. Friends help you start in the early game, they help you grind late game, and they overall make the game more enjoyable as a whole. And there's also the fact that certain parts of the game are almost locked out for you entirely if you don't have people to play with. Am I saying it's impossible to play alone? Not at all. And if you like playing alone, that's awesome. You enjoy your own company more than I enjoy mine. Good job. High five. Gold star. But parts of this game, definitely dungeons, grind progression to a screeching halt if you don't have people to play with. Think about grinding catacombs level 0 to 30. That's not the worst thing ever. Now think about how much easier it would be to grind that with people you know versus the absolute atrocity of Party Finder. Again, not impossible, but you're kind of shit out of luck if you don't have friends in that regard. So number two is going to be the wealth gap. This is probably my least concrete thing that I don't like about Skyblock, because it's kind of just an issue in general that has no real solution. The wealth gap between early, mid, late, and true endgame is absolutely insane. The amount of opportunities that wealthy players have over poorer players have to do things like play dungeons or grind more money in general is really, really big. This entire point can be summed up with the words basic economy, if I'm being honest. Then again, probably my least concrete issue, because that's just how economics works. Unless you want to make every item free, coins worthless, and make every item early game because it can all be used at the start of the game, then wealth gap is just something you'll have to push through. If you want to take the fun out of it, go play something single player that you can click your fingers in and get everything all at once. The rich get richer, the poor get not rich, as they can only look at what the rich can do and complain as they put in 4 times the amount of effort for a fraction of the earnings. And a lot of those earnings rely on my next point, which is going to be number 3, the reliance on RNG drops. Think of all of the most valuable items. I bet almost all of them have some kind of RNG factor in them. Necron's blade has the handle, Warden helm has the heart, Terminator has the core, Wither armor sets require you to pull them from chests, and your dragon pet is, well, Ender Dragon Pet. Axe of the Shredder has the shards. My point is that all of these drops, all of these things that are needed to make the best items, they're all RNG dependent. Moving up in game progression, whether it's mid to late or late to end or anything else, I'd bet 9 times out of 10, the best and most efficient way to progress is through an RNG drop. Is it almost impossible to get end game without dropping anything good? Of course it is. But what I don't like is the over-reliance of RNG as a progression blocker, or as a way to make money. Is it not good to have them at all? Definitely not. Why do you keep asking these questions? They're always wrong. RNG drops definitely have a place in the game, and they're not terrible as a whole. My issue is the over-reliance on rare drops as a game mechanic. Whether it's grinding handle, core, heart, or a pet, I think there should be less reliance on RNG drops as a source of income, or lack thereof. So number 4 is going to be progression. I'm just going to say it outright. I think progression in this game is absolutely atrocious. It's hardly optimized. It's fucking garbage. It's all of these things. It could be so much better than what it is right now. I'll give you some examples. So, say you want to start playing right-click mage in dungeons. Your progression would look something like start off with a frozen scythe or a dreadlord sword for the early floors. Then you'd switch to bonzo staff. Then jump a couple million and get spirit scepter. Pretty normal. After that, you're left with the decision of grinding Midas Staff, which is easily over 100 million, or Necron's Blade, which is over 500 million, and utter garbage for anything past floor 7. Brilliant gap there! Or what about Archer? So you start off with something like Machine Gun Bow or Runin's Bow, you go to Spirit Bow, which is only a mill or two, Last Breath, which is also only a few million difference. And by then you'd be able to use the bane of my existence, Juju Shortbow. And how far does Juju take you in progression? I don't know, I'd say like up to floor 6, maybe floor 7. Well, Juju says fuck you with all that and completely carries you to Master Mode 3 and 4. Oh, and the upgrade for it is over $1 billion. Do you see what I'm getting at? Obviously, that was only 2 examples, and similar ones at that. But in my opinion, they paint the picture of the atrocious progression that plagues this game. Oh, and if you want to progress between them, you gotta get stupid lucky or play this game like it's your job. Fun! So, number 5 is going to be the concept of overmaxing. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's look at these 2 items. The one on the right is better, obviously. But how much better is that marginal increase of stats? Is that really worth the exponential price increase? That's debatable, but that's also my issue. My issue is that those very marginal, sometimes very expensive stat increases are needed to make an item good in the eyes of the public. If a weapon doesn't have all level 7 enchant, it doesn't have the recoms, the fuming, the art of war, the chimera 5, people say it's garbage. Items can't just be good anymore. They need to have those hypermax stats, and if they don't, they're not good, period. Necron Blade can't just be good. It has to have all of those expensive things, or it's trash. In my opinion, that's so overwhelmingly toxic, and I absolutely hate it. But what I hate more is that it's affected more than just the top 0.1% of people who have the money to overmax everything. It's gotten to the point where players who can't responsibly afford these expensive stat changes are doing so anyways, whether it's on their own volition or from being told that they should do it because otherwise, quote unquote, their item isn't good. And I can't physically express how much I hate this. Items can't just stand on their own anymore. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people look for an item. They find a really good deal on something and immediately dismiss it because it doesn't have those overmax items on it. The item doesn't change. The very marginal stat increases on that item does, and for some reason, that's been ingrained into the community that that's what makes the item good. Back in the day, when you got an item like Aspects of the End, or Emerald Armor, or Water Hydra Head, it was its own thing. The good items were good, and the bad ones were bad. Do these minuscule stat changes actually change how good the item is? In most cases, no. But they do in the eyes of the player base, and I hope that changes sometime in the future. So that's it. There's my rant of 5 things that I did or didn't like about this game. Again, these are my personal opinions, and at the end of the day, I'm my own person with their own opinions, and it's all just a bit of fun to discuss these issues, because we know the dev team's never going to fix them. But if you enjoyed it, be sure to give it a like, and if you didn't, well, that other button works too. Anyways, that's all I have for now. Till next time, peace.